waiting for the Civil War to just kind of end. And I would be this little girl, and I'd watch, my dad watching CNN and my mom watching CNN, and I would just say to myself, thank you, I'd say to myself, wow, there's a real situation in Lebanon. We've got family there, and I know Lebanon is like this fun place where I go for summer, and I'm running around with like 21 of my, first cousins, like a Mongol horde, going to every aunt's house and saying, what do you have for lunch? Mulahi, it's not good enough. And then like going to the next aunt's house. But as you get older, you realize like, my God, people are dying. I'm from this crazy place. Here I am sitting in the States. And I would ask my dad, well, when is the Civil War going to end? When is it going to end? You're my father. You must know everything. And he would say, inshallah khair, give it a year. And then, 10 years later, finally, the Civil War ends, and we're ready to move back to Lebanon. And, we come back to Lebanon every summer, come rain or shine, to the point where my father was actually known in Saudi Arabia as the man from the land of Mafishi, because they would say, what the hell are you doing, bringing your children? There's a civil war! This Lebanese community, like, sitting around. And he'd say, Mafishi. And they'd be like, well, the Israelis are invading, Mafishi. And so then eventually we moved here in 94, gave it a few years to make sure it was really over, and there was Mafishi. And then we decided to come back. And so, finally we come back, and we live this, incredible life of, not so much comfort, because post-war it wasn't a lot of comfort, let's be honest, but a very interesting life nonetheless. Then as you get older and you're like, oh God, Lebanon, it's so small. I can't wait to get the hell out of here. I'm going to go to university and I'm going to be super cool. And like everybody's going to love me and I'm going to find my group, And I just couldn't wait to get out. I go to Montreal. I have a wonderful time. I chose the university because it was acceptable. My parents would pay for it, but I really wanted to party. And so, I had a wonderful 4 years. But I just couldn't finally wait to come back as a poor freelance journalist. Nobody will take my work for free because of union laws and whatever. And I'm just so happy to be in Lebanon. I've graduated. It's the 2006 war had just unfolded as I was graduating. A great opportunity for a journalist, but a very sad time to be Lebanese, right? So that my life has constantly been that, like being a rising journalist, but also, which is great for my career, but also dealing with a region that I'm from and is completely falling into disarray. So it's a very hard thing to parse. So eventually, my year back after university, I meet who is now my husband. We were covering the big Hakaya bombing together. And like 3 weeks after we get together, I moved to Dubai to become a stock market reporter, which, by the way, if there are any aspiring journalists here, is the most boring job ever, because all you're doing is watching stock markets go up and down, and you're doing all these different reports. So in my attempt to get back to Lebanon, I actually end up getting further away from Lebanon, and I find myself in Afghanistan. Because I'm just trying to make it as a journalist in order to then tell these editors, like, God damn it, send me back to Lebanon. I need to get back. This is the place that I want to be. So I spent 3 years in Afghanistan, which was very, very lovely. I encourage everybody to visit, although it is quite dangerous, but it's a really lovely place. And what I found so interesting was that, like, Kabul's actually a pretty safe place. And my first night there, I showed up with like 7 history books. Huge, it's like, this is gonna be like my 3 years where I'm super serious. I read all these books and I become super knowledgeable and I become this famous journalist and everything's just gonna work out and then I'm gonna be able to come back to Lebanon. And my first night there, I like stay in this house with a bunch of Brits and American journalists and aid workers, and they're like, yeah, hop on the motorcycle, we're gonna go to the bar. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is Afghanistan. Whoa, okay, we're going to a Mexican bar, and it's like this terrible, like awfully themed Mexican bar, but there are like hundreds of aid workers and diplomats, and everybody's getting super drunk, and I'm like, okay, this is Afghanistan. So I spend 3 years there. Finally, I'm able to come back to Lebanon, right? Because I like made enough of a name for myself in the paper to say, God damn it, bring me back to Lebanon. And I'm coming back and the Arab Spring has just happened and it's this great story of like finally hope, right? Like Middle East hope, this is amazing. People are rising up against these crazy, terrible dictatorships. Like I'm gonna come back to this story. But then as my months kind of progress, like my time is winding down in Afghanistan, it just becomes very clear that the Arab Spring is really deteriorating and we're going back to these terrible dictatorships. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, everybody's leaving the Middle East, and here I am, like, dying to come back. And I remember, like, being on the plane, and there's this guy with a fedora, and he just looked so damn cheesy. And I was like, why the fuck is this guy wearing a fedora on the plane? Like, who the fuck wears a fedora on the plane? And sorry, but I have a real bias against fedoras. And this guy is just like, sorry, a fedora is like a wide-rimmed hat for anybody who doesn't know, which is the worst thing to wear on a plane because you can't put your head back because you've got this like wide rim, right? So this guy, sitting on the plane. All my friends have left Lebanon, and so I'm kind of like this mixed emotion of like, I love this place, but all of my friends are leaving. What the fuck am I doing coming back here? Like, this is insane, And he sees my tattoo. And he says, excuse me, where did you get your tattoo from? And I said, I got it from this guy, Hadi Baidoun, which if anybody has a tattoo, it's like, that's the guy you go to in Lebanon because he's the big guy. I said, I got it from Hadi Baidoun. Oh, there's tattoo artists in Lebanon. Well, yeah, there are. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Paris. Oh, great. What are you doing? Like, you coming back to Lebanon to visit family? Well, I'm coming back to open up a tattoo parlor. I'm like, okay, this guy has not done any market research, because if he had just Googled Lebanon plus tattoo, like Hadi Baidoun is like the Haifa Wahbi of tattoos. Like, what the fuck? So I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, so you're going to open up a tattoo parlor. Where are you coming from? Oh, I'm from Paris. I'm Lebanese, but originally Lebanese, but I live in Paris. Okay, wow, this is amazing. Like, all my friends are leaving. Everybody I know is leaving Lebanon. This is a good story. Like, God damn it, I am happy to sit down next to you, even though you're wearing a cheesy ass fedora. Like, this is great. You're moving here. This is amazing. Really, I tell him like, wow, that's great of you. Bravo. The Syrian civil war is raging, and you're, coming to open up a business. Syrian civil war. Yeah, there's a Syrian civil war going on, like, out 50 kilometers, from Beirut. Well, maybe not 50 kilometers, but anyway. I'm like, oh God, so now I'm like really sweating bullets. Like, oh Jesus, this is gonna be so uncomfortable. Like, we've got 3 hours left on this plane ride, and this guy doesn't know what the hell's going on in Lebanon. He hasn't done his market research. He doesn't know there's a civil war. He's wearing a fedora. Oh God. So anyway, so then we start talking, and he says, oh shit. And so he says to me, yeah, my wife and I, we sold our apartment in Paris, and she's gonna follow me in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, this is great. What does your wife do? Oh, she's got like a beauty salon. So she quit her job. I quit my job. We're moving to Lebanon. Okay, wonderful. And he said, yeah, the plan is we're going to open up this tattoo parlor, and there's going to be a bar. And then on top, on the second floor, she's going to be doing people's hair and like waxing. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest idea I've ever heard of. All right, okay, let's talk about this. And I said to him, well, you can't drink if you, do tattoos because ink doesn't stay in your skin. And he said, what? I didn't know that. I said, oh God, this guy's really in trouble. I said, yeah, you can't drink alcohol and do a tattoo at the same time because like the ink doesn't hold. And this guy's face just totally falls. Like, oh God, my idea, why the hell did I sell my business in Paris? Who the hell is this terrible woman sitting next to me? And so I haven't, thought about that guy since until I have a baby about a year ago. And the situation is getting progressively worse, and all I can think about is leaving, even though I don't want to leave, because I want my son to have great opportunities, as I think we all do. And unfortunately, I'm feeling like he can only do so if we move abroad. But somewhere in Zal'a, and I hope to God, this guy has his tattoo parlor, and there's a bar in it, and upstairs women are getting full blowouts and getting their bikini lines waxed. And I promised myself I would find this guy in Zal'a, but part of me is too afraid to, because if that idiot left, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here anymore. Thank you.